How are y'all? Okay. This is a sellout crowd. We're going to expect you to be very well behaved. And if you're not, well, that's the way it goes. After all, it is for Ranchos. This is the biggest crowd we've had at election. That's a nice feeling. But we're going to have to put pressure on the city to buy more chairs. We have evacuated the museum of anything that will support a posterity. We've got antique stuff back there. We've got this wonderful tiny rocker that came from the original Mercer house. And my goodness gracious, and we're so happy to have all of you here. Now, there are some notable presences in the crowd, so allow me to embarrass them. First off, are there veterans in the house? Raise your hand. Stand up. Thank you, gentlemen and lady, and welcome home. We're mighty glad to have you back and thank you for your service. Our president is here, but is he in the room? Is Greg Smith with us? Let me see. Oh yes, he's right high. Look back there. That fellow over here is Greg Smith, and he is the president of PAPHA. He's acting really shy, but he makes us call him Mr. President. Sometimes we call him your President. Also here tonight is our archivist, Mark Pratt. Now he can't hear. Greg, is he back there? Yes. Yeah. Make him hold his hand up. Okay, turn around. There we go. Mark Creighton had the foresight. This man had the foresight to start collecting photographs of Potoransis. Nearly 30 years ago, we now have over 20,000. And they're available right there in the museum on our computer. You can come in and enter a name. You can enter the name of a place where you used to come and stay. You can enter the year. And life is not just something back. It's pretty cool. We've had people come in and do genealogical research because we've got so many photos now because of the foresight and the stick-with-itness of Mark Creighton. Is that word? Stick-with-it? Is that a word? Yes.
Now it is.
Now it is. Somewhere in the crowd, probably hiding because he also doesn't like publicity, is Dr. Bill Behrens. You here? Yeah, he put his hand up and down really quick. There he is. Oh, he's not shy. But you can tell he is not shy. Dr. Behrens explained to all of us why the ship channel kept moving 200 feet per year. Because that was the most common question we got when we said, well, yeah, the ship channel moves 200 feet a year, and they say, why? But he explained it to us, and then he went on to become our most frequent docent. This guy has more hours being a docent in the museum than you can imagine. So thank you, Dr. And now, the reason you came here, right, was it for the wine and cheese?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And also for the music.
Yeah.
Now you know the rules. You have to dance. If it's a two-step, you got to dance. If it's a four count, you have to dance. If it's a waltz, well, that's your option. Because that is kind of tough. Our guests tonight are pretty famous, but they wouldn't give me any Bible. Now, if you ever come up to speak here and you don't give me a Bible, Lord help you. Because I'm going to make something up. But it's not always what you want to hear. So, we have with us tonight David and Barbara Pratt. be a very different lecture, actually, we wrote this, as the Browns will bring their instruments and sing their way through their history lesson. Dancing is permitted, and other musicians just might show up. And sure enough, we've seen a lot of them. They're the ones that are kind of scrappy. They'll probably join us a little bit later on. Now, since they wouldn't give us a bio, here we go. David is an architect, and he is involved in designing public schools and many other institutions. And he is here tonight because we begged the law enforcement officials to let him out. So he's here on the release. We've all got to watch him. If he starts out the door, I want somebody to, hold your hand up and scream. Okay? Let's try it. Hold your hand up and scream. All right, David. You okay? His lovely wife, Barbara, has been charged for a long time with keeping him out of trouble. She didn't do very well. They have been coming to every Farley second Saturday since we invented Second Saturday and providing us with music. And they have put together a most remarkable program, which is the history of music, illustrated with instruments and with the voice, which I think is a remarkable idea. So, one further. You know how the drummers never did any recognition? And the bass men never did any recognition? Remember those musicians in the crowd? It's always the people up front with the big smile and the microphone in their mouth that they get all the attention. With us tonight is a volunteer to the museum, Denny Larkin. Denny is not only a fine musician, Denny is the guy who puts together all the music venues around town for us nonprofit people. And he does a remarkable job. And we're so proud to have him in our fold because he does such a marvelous job. What you don't know is that he's also a top-flight craftsman. He builds something remarkable every year to donate to the museum so we can sell it at our auction in March. And we always make incredible amounts of money. And that keeps us going a long time. So thank you, Denny. Any public service announcements? Okay, I didn't think so. Will the Browns please come in and take over?
Thank you, Rick. I think. Well, it's wonderful to be here tonight. It's wonderful to see a crowd like this. We really do appreciate it. What's really wonderful about it is I see lots of new faces, folks that we haven't been able to reach with our music, and it's wonderful to have you all out here. A lot of folks that have heard us and came out anyway, we appreciate that. I'd like to thank Rick. First of all, I'd like to thank the group for having us out here. Sharing our music is a passion for us. We love old-style music. In the last 3 or 4 years, we try to learn some newer stuff, but, we always have a passion for the old-style music, and we'll talk about that a little bit here. First of all, I'm going to try not to talk too much. A couple of ground rules. I'm going to try not to talk too much. I'm going to try not to talk too fast. That's what I was afraid you were going to say. We'll sing. I sing better than I talk. The other thing is, as Rick indicated, y'all feel free to come up and dance. If you want to find a spot over here and the mood strikes you, please do. More critically, we want you to sing. We want you to participate because the louder you sing, the better we sound. That's our band motto. Bill asked me earlier, it was an interesting question, what's folk music? Well, that's a pretty broad spectrum. I sort of defined it as anything that didn't have to do with money. Because if you really think about it, the way this works is, turn it up?
Turn it
All right, we're going to turn it up. I hope this doesn't hurt the people in front, but we'll see. How about that? Is that better? Shut up, John. Well, the reason I say that is that folk music started out with people creating music on their own for very humble reasons. Most music today, like it or not, is made to make a buck. And there's no problem with that. A lot of people do that, and that's just wonderful stuff. But Barbara and I really like the old style music. When Old Brother Where Art Thou came out, we kind of took a taft to that and some of the songs in that particular movie. And we came to realize that the people that made those songs had actually very humble motives and very simple motives, much different than our motives today. You know, they did this sort of stuff to, they celebrated life, they celebrated death. They sang songs to remind them of places they've left or people that they'd left. They went to war with music. They died with music. They were buried with music. Is that how we're going to do it?
That's good.
Okay, that's fine with me. That's good. Unless you can see us, the better we'll sound. But the point is, this stuff was really, it was about their humanity. That's why people wrote music. It wasn't made to make money. And we'll talk about that a little bit as we go along. Some of the last songs we're going to do, we're going to show you how sort of some of these old style songs morphed into let's make a buck. And today we're almost 100% let's make a buck. But anyway, we're going to start off though. One of the they laughed with it, they cried with it. So one of the things we're going to do to start off is celebrate our own humanity, which is what Rick tried to get you to do a few minutes ago. And we're going to get you to do it in a very serious way. We're going to ask you, you thought this was free, right? Nice try. What this is we're going to ask you to sing along. Now, there's some of you that know how this works, and some of you that don't. You can sing anywhere you want to, and some of you will, and they know who they are. But we're going to do this with the idea that everybody kind of get energized and get warmed up a little bit, okay? So we're going to do the Crawdad song. Yeah, you thought you were getting away easy, right? Well, no such luck. So we're going to do the Crawdad song. And we'll also use this as a little sound check. You guys in the back let us know at the end if this is too loud or not loud enough or how we're doing. You ready? Everybody got it? One key of A for those of you who really care. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sack on his back, honey. Yonder comes a man with a sack on his back, babe. Yonder comes a man with a sack on his back, packing all the crawdads he can pack, honey. Oh, baby mine. You get a line, I'll get a pole, honey. You get a line, I'll get a pole, babe. You get a line, I'll get a pole. We'll go down to the crawdad hole, honey, oh babe of mine. Well, the man fell down and he broke his sack, honey. The man fell down and he broke his sack, babe. The man fell down and he broke his sack. Look at them crawdads crawling back, honey, oh babe of mine. You get a line, I'll get a pole, honey. You get a line, I'll get a pole, babe. You get a line, I'll get a pole. We'll go down. Oh, babe of mine. What you gonna do when the lake runs dry, honey? What you gonna do when the lake runs dry, babe? What you gonna do when the lake runs dry? Sit on the banks, watch your crawdads die, honey. Oh, babe of mine. You get a line, I'll get a pole, honey. You get a line, I'll get a pole, babe. You get a line, I'll get a pole. We'll go down to the crawdad hole, honey, oh, babe of mine. Look at that crawdad crawling a pole, we go down to the crawdad hole. Honey, oh babe of mine. Honey, oh babe of mine. Oh, y'all sounded great. Y'all sounded great. Man, we're just going to quit. It don't get no better than that. That's great. And honestly, as we continue all night long, sing along, because that's what's fun about this stuff. Now, we talked a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about Texas music and kind of what makes Texas music different. But the one thing you have to understand about folk music, like we were talking about, it's pretty much based on an oral tradition. Okay. There were no tape recorders, there were no CDs, there was none of that stuff back then. And so what people would do is they'd make music all right, but they'd go from town to town. The struggling musicians would go from town to town. They'd play a song here and they'd play a song there. Well, the people could remember the music because the melody sticks in your head, but they didn't remember the words. So this town would create its own words, and this town would create its own words. And next thing you know is you've got 10,000 versions of different songs. So it's very much an oral tradition. It's very much an inexact science. You can get on the internet and find out massive amounts of information. You can find out conflicting information. I'm sure back in the back there's somebody with a little tablet going, "Nah, he's wrong on that. It says here 1837." So I don't pretend to remember all this stuff and don't even try, but I have studied it a little bit and find it terribly interesting. So it's basically an oral tradition. There's, for example, 2 Cotton Eye Joes. If you've ever heard Cotton Eye Joe down here in South Texas, it's nothing like the Cotton Eye Joe that they play up on the East Coast. So anyway, you've got that little dynamic happening. And the other thing that happens is Texas, because of its geographic location, really linked itself to different cultures. Number one, it was a massive amount of land. Okay. Number two, it was jealously guarded by the Mexican government, and their solution to keeping it was to give away land grants and bring all different kinds of people in. They didn't care. They just wanted people that owed them, is what it amounted to. So as time goes on, we have a lot of folks don't know this, but the Irish, there's a little, where Copano Bay is up there, where there's a little, and you can see it with a helicopter now, you can see the foundations of the town called Copano. That's where all these Irish settlers came in, and they all moved south into what's known as San Patricio, which is, of course, St. Patrick's in Spanish. If you ever wondered why St. Patrick's came to, that's the reason. So at any rate, all these different cultures came in. So Texas is very much a sort of a confluence of cultural diversity. And what I like to do, the thing that makes a folk song last is it usually becomes iconic because of something that happens. Okay? There's an event or something like that. So what I like to do is, and what we're going to do here a little bit tonight, is talk about different cultures. We're going to play some cultural songs, and I'm going to tell you kind of where they came from. And then I'll tell you why they're kind of important in Texas history and why they managed to stand out and hang around when there's probably thousands of other folk songs that the Irish or the Polish or the Germans or played, but these stuck out, and these are the reasons why. The first song we're going to do is a song called Westphalia Waltz. Many of you may know it as a Texas dance hall song. A lot of these old songs ended up in the Texas dance halls, and that's where they became iconic. This one happens to come from Poland, but in the early 50s, or in the late 30s, there was a guy named Cotton Collins that was a fiddler, and he went to war. He went to World War II. Well, he went to World War II, and over in Germany, he learned this song, and he thought this was really a cool song. It's a beautiful waltz. So he brought it back to Texas and started playing in the dance halls, and everybody goes, "Oh, that's just such a beautiful song. What's it called?" He didn't have a clue. So he just started, there's a little town up the road called Westphalia, so he just started calling it the Westphalia Waltz. And that's how the tune got his name. In reality, it's a Polish song from the 1600s that the people up around Bremen and in that area had been playing for a long, long time. He thought he discovered something special. But anyway, we'll do this for you. It's called Westphalia Waltz. Look at this. Look at this. And he said you wouldn't dance on a waltz. I think that's what he said. So, well, of course, the Polish and the Czech people came in up around northern Texas, up around Bremen and that area right there. And also I think the oldest Polish settlement in the United States is up in Santa Maria, Texas, which is where Barbara's folks come from. So if she talks funny, that's the reason. Now, another group, as I said, that came in very close to here were the Irish folks. They came over from New York, circled around, came into New Orleans, then came down and went into Copano Bay. From Copano, they'd land over there, and then they'd go to Refugio. And from Refugio, they'd go out to their land grants. There were two guys, McMullins and McGloin, that had gotten this land grant from Mexico, and they just sold the living fire out of it. And there were a lot of Irish people that were really disappointed when they got here because they'd been told it was a lot like Ireland. So, as a consequence, the Mexican folks thought that would be a really good thing, because they were really kind of ticked off about it. So when Sam Houston and his group started coming through, they sided a little more with the, not totally, but a little more with the United States folks coming in than they did the Mexicans. This song is really interesting. Now, where did this become iconic? The name of the song is "Will You Come to the Bower?" Okay, it's a love song. And again, there's a bunch of Irish songs we could do, but we stuck on this one for one reason. It became iconic because it was the battle song of San Jacinto. Now, the story is, and you can look this up on the internet, I'm not lying, unless the internet's lying. Which, anyway, that's a whole different story. When Sam Houston kind of reconnoitered around San Jacinto and was waiting for Santa Anna to get there, he realized that one of his big weaknesses was that Santa Anna had this big band. And when they went into battle, they had horns, they had drums. It was like, and of course the intent was to scare the living fire out of the opponent. Sam Houston asked, what do we have? They said, well, we got two fiddlers. Of course, I think the only song they had was this song. So anyway, this song literally was played as Sam Houston ran across the battlefield in San Jacinto. The whole Battle of San Jacinto took 18 minutes. I'm wrong.
Will you come to the bower I have shaded for you? Your bed shall be of roses bespangled with the dew. Will you come to the bower? Will you come to the bower? There under the bower on soft roses you will lie, with a blush on your cheek but a smile.
Brown Sugar Land.
Well, this is another very interesting song. Fall over. What key is that? That's not a key. Sorry, Denny.
Yeah, sure.
Bass player is just another key. Okay. The Yellow Rose of Texas.
All right.
Now, we just learned this actually. I got to look at that because I was curious about the background of this song. It's kind of it's an old Irish melody, but the story has a factual basis, and they've traced it back as best they possibly could. There was a guy named James Morgan that was a big landholder, and he had an island that landed in the Bahamas, and he decided he was going to start a colony in Texas. Again, he was coming to Texas to seek his fame and fortune. And he built this little town called New London, I believe it is. Knew something. Anyway, it was right at the mouth of the San Jacinto River. So he brought New Washington. Thank you, baby. New Washington. So he brought people with him to help start this colony. And one of the ladies he brought with him was a young lady named Emily West. She was a light-skinned Negro, and very light-skinned, apparently very, very beautiful. So about the time Santa Ana and Sam Houston were fixing to kind of converge up there, Santa Ana came into New Washington and actually took the little town over, and he took her back with him because he had a thing for the ladies, as they say. And he took her, and he took a young boy, 15, 16 years old, named Turner with him. And she helped Turner escape. So Turner runs and finds Sid in Houston and says, "Hey, they're over there." And there's a bunch of them. But anyway, he gives Houston important information. So the morning of the battle is Houston is, I don't know how much this is true, but it's a great story. The morning of the battle, Houston climbs up a tree and he's surveying because they got right up on him. That's why he only lasted 18 minutes. He looks out there and he sees outsider standing in his tent, Emily West, cooking breakfast. And of course, you know what keeping her in his tent meant. And Sam Houston made the rude comment, something to the effect of, "I hope he keeps her in there all day." And apparently he did, or she did, one of the two. Maybe she knew what was going on, but anyway, she became known as the Yellow Rose of Texas. Now, that's the background of the story. The actual word, this is one of the very few songs apparently have actually, they found a piece of paper in 1836 with the words on this. I don't know how they came up with the music, but anyway, that's the story behind it. I think it's a great story. The Yellow Rose of Texas. Cue the beat. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a yellow rose of Texas. I am going to see. Nobody else could miss her, not half as much as me. She cracks the when I left her, like to probe my heart. If I ever knew we never more shall part. She's the sweetest little rosebud that Texas ever knew. Her eyes are bright as diamonds, they sparkle like the dew. We may talk about your clementine and drink of Rosalie, but the yellow rose of Texas is the only girl for me. Every old ram is flowing, starry skies are bright. She walks along the river on a quiet summer's night. She thinks if I remember we parted long ago. I promised to come back again and never leave us so. She's the sweetest little rosebud that Texas ever knew. Her eyes are bright as diamonds, they sparkle like the dew. Can we talk about your clementine, dream of Rosalie? But the yellow rose of Texas is the only girl for me. Well, the next one, this is an old Irish song, and again, an old Irish tune. It became famous as a cattle driving song. Of course, as time went on, Texas did its thing. It became really popular as a cattle driving song. However, it's got a little quote in it that we think is very interesting. The song is called "The Gal I Left Behind Me." Okay, it's an old song. It goes back forever. What makes it really unique in Texas history this. And again, this revolves around Santa Ana. Man, that guy must have cut a lot of stuff. But we'll talk about that. I'll share a little bit with you. And then I'll give you the punchline. During the Mexican-American War, Santa Ana was overrun, much like a San Jacinto. He seemed to have a penchant for being overrun. Anyway, they got his carriage. And his carriage was all silver to pay the army, which was great. But also in the carriage was his leg. He had a wooden leg. Actually, more specific, he had a cork leg, because wooden legs were heavy. Rich people could afford cork legs, so this was a cork leg. So, anyway, these guys overrun it, stole his leg, and I'll tell you what they did with it. Anyway, here's the original song. So they would march in the battle singing this. That's what it says. That's what the internet says. 1, 2, 3, 4. Locked in and turned through the waves, lest Yankee foe should find me. Then mocking shake before my face, the guy left behind me. Sweet little leg, true little leg, like I left behind me. Then mocking shake before my face, the guy left behind me. This next one is also a great cattle song. Anybody know why cowboys sang to the cattle? Because, a very practical reason, like most things cowboys did, if in the middle of the night, the least little sound would start a stampede, because the cattle were just very frightful animals. And so the cowboys figured out that if they sang to them, there was always a little noise going on, and a noise didn't spook them nearly so bad. So that's how cowboys started singing. One of the songs they sang was this one. It's known as Red River Valley. People think of it as a Texas song. It's actually a Canadian song. They were Red River up there. And we stole it about the adapted, whatever. About 28, 29, 30 around there, when the records were coming out, the cowboys were popular, and there's this guy named Carl Sprague that recorded this. And everybody just assumed it was a Texas song because we have Red River. But in reality, it's much, much older than that. Y'all sing along if you like. See. Oh, you were talking. I thought you meant I didn't know that.
In this valley they say you are going, with a wish your bright eyes as you smile. For they say you are taking the sunshine, which has brightened our pathway a while. Come and sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu. But remember the Red River Valley and the one who has loved you so true. As you go to your home by the ocean, may you never forget the sweet hours that we spent in the Red River Valley, and the love we exchanged with the floods. Come and sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu. But remember the Red River Valley and the one who has loved you so true. Come and sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu. But remember the Red River Valley and the one who has loved you so true.
She mentioned reading.
We didn't have many people from Scotland.
Scotland was a lot better place to live than Ireland was. But this is an old Scottish term. The reason it's sort of germane to Texas is this is a real popular Texas fiddling song. Fiddles were really, really popular in Texas for the main reason that you could carry them around stays very light or small, which is probably so. Fiddling became a real thing in Texas. And around the 1890s, one of the things that became very, very popular were fiddling championships, the fiddling contests. Basically, it was who could play the fastest is what it got down to. And they had all these songs. This is one of the songs that they would play perpetually. And I thought it was kind of interesting because I remember it as a guitar song and decided to look up the history of it. Well, the name of the song is Devil's Dream. In Scotland, there's one thing you don't want to do, and that's teach the devil to sew. That's part of folklore. Because he will sow disguises and beguile you. That's the truth. So this song is actually known as The Devil Among the Tailors. And if you listen carefully, you'll hear the sound of 50 sewing machines going about as fast as you could possibly go. That's the reason for this song. But there's an entire genre of Texas fiddling style. And this is one of the songs that sort of create that. I really have to do this. Yeah, but I don't care. Yeah, I'll probably give you the glasses. This is set up for a train wreck. Make fun of me. Ready? I'll show you guys. I'm going to throw it at you. Ready? This next song we're going to do, and I want you guys to think about this too, because we've only got maybe 3 or 4 more songs to go, and afterwards we're going to turn the lights up, and we want to invite anybody that would like to play. We want to use Barbara's guitar, my guitar, anybody else want to play, we'll have some fun, so if y'all want to hang around a little bit, that'll be a good thing too. Meanwhile, okay, this is now we're going to get into a little area that Rick likes. This is a little bluesy kind of thing, okay? Around the 1900s, early 1900s, Texas blues was coming on. One of the big proponents of Texas blues was a guy named Huddy Ledbetter. And he wrote this next tune, which became a very, very popular dancehall song, again, called Goodnight Irene. Now, Huddy Ledbetter wrote some great songs. He wrote Midnight Special. He wrote Midnight in the Pines. He wrote most of them from prison, because he was a mess. The first time he got thrown in prison was for killing his uncle over a girl. But he was apparently a very talented songwriter, and this is one of the there were others, but this is one of the very first examples of somebody taking an old folk song and calling it his own. Okay? Now the words that you're going to hear, they changed the words back in the 50s to make it look more compatible with dancing, and people think this is a tender love ballad. It is actually not. If you listen to the words, it's a little bit rugged. So these are the original words via Lead Belly. They don't want to know that he was actually a good friend of Governor Pat Neff's. Pat Neff, when he was in Huntsville, Pat Neff, the governor of Texas, would go and have parties in Huntsville and get Lead Belly to play for him. Pat Neff pardoned him after about 3 years, and he was back in prison again. Just a mess. What are you going to do? All right. Good night, Irene.
That Saturday night I got married. Me and my wife settled down. Now me and my wife have parted. The gal goes rolling downtown. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. Sometimes I live in the country. Sometimes I live in the town. Sometimes I take some great notion to jump in the river and drown. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. Stop your rambling, stop all your gambling. Stop staying out late every night. Go home to your wife and family. Stay by your fireside so right. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you
Well, we're going to move into now that, as I talked about, that was kind of him taking an old folk song and he writing for his parents or something. And singing church, given his background, that's not really surprising. What is surprising is that seems to be a pretty popular thing to do. And as we talked about the humble beginnings of music, as time moved on into this last century, I guess, people began taking songs and sort of appropriating them, for want of a better term, with the idea of making money. From the chief proponents of that were the Carter family. And we're going to end this thing with the Carter family song. Before that, we're going to do one that Mark and I learned a long time ago, because I thought this was really interesting. We know it as Faded Love. It was copyrighted by Bob Wills, his brother, and his father. And certainly they wrote the words. But there's an old song from the Civil War called Darling Nellie Gray. It's about a slave that's on the run, and his girlfriend or wife or whatever it is, his beloved, has been sold into slavery. And it's back then it was known as the saddest song in the world. So anyway, what we do is we put this song together because I thought it was fascinating how the two fit. And I'm not saying Bob Wills stole it. But yeah, you make it really nice. Anyway, what she does is Barbara will play Darling Nellie Gray on the fiddle, and we're going to sing Faded Love. And you tell me where one starts. Ready? With every heartbeat, I still out, taking old songs, turning them into something that make you a buck. So we've kind of come the whole gamut. Before we do this, though, I really would again like to thank everybody like Rick and everybody for having us out and doing this. This is kind of our passion. I love this old style music. So we play some newer stuff too. But this other stuff is done for pure purposes and for means of very powerful in people's lives. We love sharing with y'all. So anyway, this last song we're going to do is a Carter family song. How does that relate to Texas? Well, the Carter family actually became famous in Del Rio, Texas. And a lot of people don't know that because they were from up in Kentucky and Tennessee and that area. Virginia, I'm sorry. Tell you what I was thinking, okay. How about this? They recorded these songs in Bristol, Tennessee, which is right on the border of Tennessee. That's what I was thinking about, Kentucky and Tennessee. The border runs right down the street. The story goes that Ralph Peer was RCA had just developed recording records. And he was sent out to find people that had material. So he thought, well, I'll go to the mountains and drag all these yokels down and listen and record their stuff. So he made, in Bristol, Tennessee, he recorded the Carter family and recorded Jimmy Rogers. And those were his two big deals. But the problem was back then, you couldn't broadcast the radio very far after the limits were, but you couldn't, they wouldn't let you have powerful enough radios to go very long distance, so you had a lot of regional music, but you couldn't be big stars, right? So Peer was the first guy, as far as I know, that ever figured out how to go to Mexico and record I can't remember the call letters of it, but anyway, it's Mexican radio right across the river from Del Rio. And so for about 2 years, the Carter family and Jimmy Rogers lived in Del Rio and then broadcast out of Mexico, and that's how they became national prominence. Now, back to the story, Peer would record them, he paid $75, which is about as much money as they'd see in a whole year. You know, so they thought, this guy needed it. So they did him all these songs, and of course, Peer turned them all, he took half the rights. They got 75, he got 75, and by the end of his career, he was one wealthy individual. But it was mainly from taking old folk music and copyrighting it and making a buck. Is that right or wrong? I don't know. It worked out fine for the Carter family. And if it didn't happen, we wouldn't have all their wonderful songs. So it's a good thing. But it's kind of sad too. So we're going to end with Wildwood Flower. Once again, thank you all for coming out. Any musicians want to hang around, pick a little bit, we'd love to do that. Anybody wants to hang around and dance or listen to them, drink wine if there's any left, you can do that. The Wildwood Flower. don't you come up here and thank all these kind folks for coming out? You do that, I'll start making stuff up about you. What happened to his chair? What happened to his chair? Oh, no! Somebody stole it. Rick.
Do I need a microphone? No. Okay. I'm sorry the sound didn't penetrate, but something happened tonight. We had a record crowd. Give yourselves a hand. We beat the Corpus Christi Museum all hollow. They can't touch us. I'm so happy that you guys come to these lectures. Getting people like this, well, it's worth it. We go out in the community and we try to find people that we think will be of interest. When you put the word lecture on something, what happens? They stay home. They sleep, right? Okay. We have had progressively better and bigger crowds for these lectures. Now, it's probably not us, it's probably you. So give yourselves another hand. These folks will be signing autographs, and they're real reasonable. $50 each, 25 go to the museum. Take it away, Nancy.
Y'all feel free to hang around, listen to a little more music. We're going to do probably a few more songs. Anybody wants to play, come on up. I'll give you Barbara's guitar. She's a singer. She's not a beater. Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, it's a good point. I think that's really valid. Particularly as some folks get closer to retirement, they say, man, it's time for me to learn that. Learn to play golf. Barbara was 45 years. She's 45 years old.
Whoa, I'm a traveling man. Whoa, I'm a traveling man. Whoa, I'm a traveling man.
The girl is a beautiful girl and I'd love to have her for my wife. She's just the kind of woman who can make me happy for the rest of my life. But my daddy said something you don't know. It's something I think you ought to hear. Elma Turtle is a beautiful girl, but son, she's my daughter. Well, Alice Green is a beautiful thing and I'd love to have her for my wife. let Mother Nature take her course. But you got no reason to be upset. Don't worry, don't fret, don't bother. You see, Daddy Nature, yeah, he just thinks he is. You can marry whoever you want. No, Daddy Nature, Daddy, he just thinks he is. You can marry whoever you want.
No dance hall girl or hotel rooms with rugs. You were tired and nasty. You rode your pony's head too low. There were all them nights you couldn't sleep, 'cause it was just too damn cold. We sang Strawberry Roan and Little Joe. Like the time we hit the river and the rain began to fall. Well, the water was rising so damn fast, we thought it would drown us all. Well, we lost a lot of steers that day, 3 or 4 good mounts. But when all the boys rode back to camp, we know that was all that counted. When we sang Yippee-Ki-Yi-Yo and Amazing Grace, or the time they broke behind us and they took us by surprise. Well, I whistled up old Donner, I seen the terror in his eye. Well, he rode his horse for all he would, and I know he done his best. But he crossed over Jordan, riding down here to his death. We sang, ringing in the sheaves and the rugged cross. Now pushing horns ain't easy, like the movies say it was. I don't remember no dance hall girls nor hotel rooms with rugs. We were tired and nasty. We rode our ponies' heads too low, singing Strawberry Roan and Little Joe.
passing by. One says to the other with a twinkle in her eye, "Oh, see yon sleeping Scotsman, so strong and handsome built. I wonder if it's true what they don't wear beneath the kilt. Ring-a-lee-I-dee-I-ay, ring-a-lee-I-hill. I wonder if it's true what they don't wear beneath the kilt." They sneaked up on the sleeping Scotsman, quiet as could be, then lifted up his kilt above the waist so they could see. There below for them to view, below his Scottish skirt, was nothing but what God had graced him with upon his birth. Ring-a-lee-I-dee-I-ay, ring-a-lee-I-heard, and nothing but what God had blessed him with upon his birth. They marveled for a moment, then one says we must be gone. Let's leave a present for a friend before we move along. So as a gift they left a blue silk ribbon tied to a bow around the body star of the Scots kilt and snow. Ring-a-lee-I-dee-I-ay, ring-a-lee-I-oh, around the body star of the Scots kilt and show. Well, many hours later, the Scotsman woke to nature's call and stumbled toward the trees. Behind the hill, behind the bush, he lifts his kilt and walks in what he sees. Then in a startled voice he says, what's before his eyes? My friend, I don't know where you've been, but I see you won first prize. First prize, first prize, I see you won first prize.
Oh yeah, the folks kind of like this one on that. Don't worry about me. You talk over now. Oh, I may be blue. Oh man, it's so rock and spring. You can live and grow. One day it's warm, the next day it's cold. lose. Don't be ashamed. If I have been you, gives me one time, then you know I understand. Don't worry about me, baby, it's alright. Don't worry about
That's the light because you're playing in there.
West Virginia, Orange Mountain, Shenandoah River. Life is older than the trees, younger than the mountains.
The moon was as bright as green light
a letter from an old friend back home. He asked me why you ride for you. Why do you work for short pay? Ain't getting nowhere, losing your share. Oh Lord, you must have gone crazy out there. He said last week I run on to Jenny. She's married, has a good life. Oh, you sure miss the track when you never come back. She's a perfect professional wife. She asked me why does he ride for his friend? Why does he work for short pay? Ain't getting nowhere and he's losing his share. Oh, they all must be crazy out there. Well, I read the last of my letter, then I tore off the stamp like Jim. Little Dougie wrote up to relieve me. He just looked at my letter and grinned. He says, why do they ride for their money? Tell me why do they want short pay? They ain't getting nowhere and losing their share. Allah, they all must be crazy back there, 'cause they've never seen the northern lights. They've never seen the hawk on the wing. They've never seen spring in the great divide. Oh Lord, they've never heard a sing. Oh Lord,
Bye-bye, sweet caress.
out a riding, graveyard shift midnight till dawn. The moon was as bright as a ring light for a letter from an old friend back home. He asked me why did you ride for me? Why do you work for short pay? Ain't getting nowhere, you're losing your share. Oh Lord, you must have gone crazy out there. He said last week I run on to Jenny. She's married, has a good life. Oh, you sure miss the track when you never come back. She's a perfect professional wife. She asked me why does he ride for his friend? Why does he work for short pay? Ain't getting nowhere and he's losing his share. Oh, they all must be crazy out there. Well, I read up the last of my letter, then I tore off the stamp like Jim. Little Dougie wrote up to leave me. He just looked at my letter and grinned. He says, why did they ride for their money? Tell me why do they work for short pay? They ain't getting nowhere, they're losing their share. Allah, they all must be crazy back there, 'cause they've never seen the northern lights. They've never seen the hawk on the wing. They've never seen spring in the great divide. Oh Lord, they've never heard of a sing. Oh Lord, someone new. She sure looks happy, I sure am blue. She was my baby till he stepped